Have you ever looked at a big assortment of chandelier, earring, and filigree findings and thought that it was a great deal but weren't quite sure what to do with all of it? If so, today I have for you 10 ideas for using filigree findings in jewelry and more. Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another Friday Findings video at KeepsakeCrafts.net. So here I have in front of me this wonderful assortment of findings that BB Craft sent for me. Today on their website, the regular price for this whole set of 60 pieces is $12.50. So it's just an incredible deal, and there's some lovely things in here, some beautiful findings, but it's a lot of pieces. What you end up getting are 6 each of 10 different findings, and I'll show them all to you. I just had a little fun just now kind of laying all these out just for the cover photo. You get 3 different types of these big butterflies and 6 of each. And then you get 6 of each of the chandelier findings. Okay, so there's that. Little bit easier to see just what you get in the assortment, although they do have fantastic pictures on their website showing you everything that is in the set. You get 6 of each of the butterflies, and then 6 of each of the earring findings, so 3 pairs of earrings each. Now, of course, the obvious thing, idea number 1, is to make chandelier earrings out of all of these. They all have at least 5 loops. These ones and these ones have 7 loops, and you can have a lot of fun designing a pair of chandelier earrings. Here are some that I made, and I love wearing them. Actually, this morning I wanted to wear them, and I went looking for them and forgot that I had set them aside, my little box of things to make a video this morning. So as soon as I'm done showing them to you, I'm putting them in. I just love these. What's awesome about this kind of a design is it's so easy. It's the exact same pattern on every single eye pin, and that's all these are. They're eye pins. There's a loop at the bottom, and then I put a single bead on a head pin just to have some extra movement, but you could skip that if you wanted. And I have the exact same pattern of beads on every one, so whether it's 5 or 7, and the shape of the finding gives you this wonderful chevron look. And all of these earrings that you see here would do that beautifully. Some more dramatically, like these, where the distance between them is bigger than, say, here, you would get a more dramatic shape. And you could enhance that by changing the numbers of beads in each one. So chandelier findings in that style, or you could just do random and make, again, eye pins with a little dangle on the bottom, or just head pins with just kind of a random assortment of beads. So that's 2 easy ways of making chandelier findings. If you want to keep them really simple, you could do just a single dangle on each one and keep them shorter if you don't like them quite so long as I do. And I just realized I missed a pair of the findings here. So what you end up getting is 3 butterflies and 7 different types of earrings for 10 times 6, 60 pieces. These ones have 9 loops, so you would really get a lot of movement, and these would be really cute with just a single bead dangling underneath. Swarovski crystals. Okay, so that's actually idea number 1, although there's a whole bunch of ideas bundled in there. Idea number 2 is to use them to make multi-strand bracelets. Let me just move these out of the way. It might be easier to use ones that don't have quite such a drastic change in the distance between them, but you could work it out either way and make a multi-strand bracelet similar to this one. This one I made my own findings, and this is a video, I'll link to it. And it's just a bunch, it was an assortment of beads, and they're all on wire-wrapped pieces that are linked together. Yeah, the trickiest part of this was actually getting all of the lengths just about the same. But these would be really pretty as multi-strand connectors for bracelets. If you want to go really dramatic, you could use these as multi-strand connectors for necklaces. Here I have some chain, and just kind of demoing how this would look. You could have all the same type of chain Wouldn't it be pretty to have a strand of rhinestone cup chain in there and use this as a really gorgeous multi-strand necklace? You don't have to get fancy. In fact, you can even buy, it's called bead chain, and it's like this, where usually there's just individual beads on links linked together, and you can buy it all made. So you could whip together a necklace so fast just using some cup chain. This is box chain. Connect a whole bunch of chains together in a multi-strand design, get the lengths so they drape nicely, and you would have a really lovely necklace. And then just a single piece of chain around back will make it very comfortable to wear and also minimize the amount of your fancier chain you have to use. So that's idea number 3, to use them for multi-strand necklaces. Another thing you can do with any of these, especially where you have so many, you have 6 of each butterfly, and maybe you don't want them all to be the same, because I don't know about you, I get bored and I'm like, okay, next, done that idea. I want to change things and make them different. You can color them with vintage patinas. Like here are some leaves. Here's the original look, just these pretty inexpensive stamped leaves. Here's them painted with vintage patinas, so it totally changes the color. You can also get more of a patinaed look just by doing this, but before it dries, just kind of wipe it off. And you saw that I did that on these earrings too. I just wiped on probably the same color, because I love that color. It's turquoise. Put it on and then wiped it off and gave it just this great aged look. So you can totally change up the look just by using some colorants. Another thing you can use as colorants are alcohol inks. This is a purchase piece that I bought. I purchased it like this, but this kind of gives you an idea of how you can change things. And these, I don't know what exactly they used in this piece, this manufactured piece, but here are just a few pieces that are using a combination of alcohol inks, vintage patinas, or what are those called? Oh, there are other colorant products out there. I'll link to them at my blog. But I'm sure this gives you ideas, just looking at these, to look at, say, this one with this pretty little flower, or even all the detail on the butterfly, that you can go in and color them up and change them completely. So you could have 6, but no 2 would look exactly alike. So that's idea number 4, is to color them with patinas, alcohol inks. I wish I could remember the other product, but I didn't think of it until just now. This is also a purchase piece that gave me some great ideas. And this one you could see, I think it's got some sort of enamel in there coloring it. So you could use enamel paints. It has a very similar look to putting the vintage patinas on without taking off the patina. So you could definitely put a thick layer in there. But what about flat back pearls, like on this little creature? Totally changes the look. Or even on this one, it just has a single one, and this, of course, has a whole bunch of different sizes. Flat back crystals or pearls. In fact, I have some here. And if you look carefully at some of these pieces, some of them appear to have places made for crystals. This one, which reminds me of like those Mayan paintings on the Mayan designs on the that you only can see from the air, but it's got these 2 little spaces that look like they're made exactly for, is that a 2mm or maybe a 3mm rhinestone? I don't have any that small. I have some Swarovski Rivolis with the pointed backs, and that would probably work really well. Obviously this is way too big, but if you wanted it oversized, I suppose you could. But, well, you get the idea that you can put them really anywhere. There doesn't have to be a place set aside for them. Just use some good quality glue, E6000 perhaps. Gem Tack is one I've heard recommended that I've never used. Super glue is good, but it tends to get brittle. Even this has an oval space right here, which looks like the perfect place to put a little cabochon. If you can find one this size, and I'm sure they make them, but you could also glue in, again, I'd probably recommend in these spaces flat backs, even these spaces. This one looks like it's got a spot for a marquee shape and a whole bunch of little ones. So you can glue in rhinestones, pearls. You can make little things out of polymer clay. Like here I have a little itty bitty butterfly. That is Swarovski crystal Rivoli. It's got the pointed back. Oh, isn't that cute? And suddenly it really has a very different look from its friend over here. Just jazzes it up so much. So that's idea number 5, that you can glue in pearls, crystals, add gemstones, add cabochons wherever appropriate, and then you have a whole different look. Idea number 6 takes us in a completely different direction. I was looking at this one, and I thought it was really pretty, but I don't know if you can see it, maybe not with the white behind it, but I thought like in some, there we go, it's some lights, it kind of disappears. You almost don't even see it, which is what gave me the idea for actually backing it with polymer clay. And again, on camera, it may not look as good, but in real life, it actually looks really good to have the polymer clay behind it. An alternative to polymer clay would be epoxy clay, which you wouldn't even have to put in the oven to cure. And you wouldn't have to worry about it coming off and needing to glue it back on, because epoxy clay will stick. Once it's hard, it's on there forever and ever and ever. So you kind of get the idea. You can back that with polymer clay of any color. You could dust on mica powders, whatever. So you could back it with clay and get a whole different look, especially the ones, like I said, that up against white you can see it, but up against something else it kind of gets lost. And that led me to idea number 7, which was to use it as a texture tool. For example, this is just a really beautiful shape. These loopy ovals in here, and they're kind of beaded. And I thought any one of these would make an amazing texture in polymer clay. I don't know how well you can see that, but you could press that into a piece of clay, cut it out, add whatever colorants you want, mica powders or anything, and have a beautiful fairy wing or just a texture. If you did this along something, it could be a flower petal texture, whatever you want. So it kind of gives you a reason to look at these in a whole new way for the textures you're going to get, even this one, where you've got that great spiral, and you could cut out the loops if you don't want them, or you may find a use for that as something. So that's just a whole new way, an idea for playing with things like this, where you've got all this detail that somebody worked hard on. You think about these, we sort of take them for granted. I mean, they're so inexpensive. But somebody designed every single one of these little swirls and loops and the flower and the center and the little beaded edges. Somebody designed all of that. So somebody put a lot of thought and work into that detail. So why not make the most of it and use it in your designs? Really gives you a whole new appreciation when you start looking at these things more closely. So that's idea number 7. 6 was to back with polymer clay or epoxy clay. 7 is to use it as a texture tool. Number 8, I don't so much have a demonstration here for you, sorry. But something like this, which is so open, I thought would be lovely to take some fine gauge wire and wire on beads. You often see wire work jewelry where an artist has created the wire piece and then they wire on beads. But why not just go straight to the fun stuff and wire on the beads? Now I know not everybody loves the big long dangly earrings like I do, and maybe even having a single bead dangling from each of these is a bit much for your taste. What about cutting off the loops You may have to do a little sanding and filing, and you may have to add some colorants on the edges because you can't always be sure of what's going to show on the inside. It's not necessarily what shows on the outside. But then you just have a very simple piece of jewelry, and you can use it in the same way as an earring without the dangles. And even these that have open spaces, you could hook things into to use them as multi-strand findings. So cutting off the loops and using them in any of these really that have loops in them. Some of them like that's kind of integrated, but like these you can just cut them off. That was idea number 9, and that leads me to idea number 10, was to think beyond jewelry for these things. My first thought when I looked at this was a barrette. Again, cut off that loop and probably cut off this little bar with the loop up here and put it on a barrette. Wouldn't that be pretty? Purchase a picture frame and paint it something interesting and glue these onto the corners for a custom picture frame in minutes. Use them as pulls for different things like Roman shades or light switches. So many different ideas to go beyond the jewelry for these. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that I've given you lots of ideas and inspired you to take a whole new look at your filigree pieces and create something wonderful. So if you're interested in the supplies I used, click on the link in the upper right of the video or down in the description box to go to my blog post where I always have a complete supply list and links to products. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and take a look at my Patreon page if you would like to get additional videos from me every month. Many thanks to BB Craft for sending along these lovely pieces. Happy creating. Bye-bye.